As commander of VFW Post 2210, I want to welcome you to this Memorial Day service. This day is a day that is sacred to all war veterans. No veteran needs to be reminded of the reason to commemorate Memorial Day. Every citizen has a civic obligation to honor our nation's war dead. By showing that honor, we preserve their memory, their service, and their sacrifice. Honoring their sacrifices serves to remind us not only of the cost of war, but perhaps more importantly, the price we must pay for peace. Let us take time today and every day to remember those who have fought and who are fighting for our freedoms, and always remember that freedom is not free. Everyone, please stand. Salute the flag. Two. Everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Please stay standing. The Star-Spangled Banner will be played by our municipal band and sung by Madeline Fleeg. Detail 10. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Two.
I will also be singing the America the Beautiful. Sorry. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Ms. Fleeg. Everyone be seated. Next, we would like to acknowledge those individuals who have achieved 50 years of membership in the VFW. Please stand as your name is called. Bob Arnold will present you with your pin and a patch. Eugene Barr. Elmer Herman. Vince Hook. Victor Yokerst. There's two other members. They are not present to my awareness. Charlie Marzuko and Gerald Wilson. Give all these gentlemen a round of applause. Stick them in your pocket. Thank you very much, comrades. We have our MIA POW table set up as a local point here today, as we will always remember those brave men and women who are unaccounted for and unable to join us in our ranks. I will ask Post Commander Paul Brishley to offer a brief ceremony in honor of these brave men and women. Paul?
Those of us who have served and those currently serving the uniformed services of the United States are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. It is fitting that we pause to remember our prisoners of war and those missing in action. We call your attention to the small table, which always occupies the place of dignity and honor in our post home. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs and MIAs. We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families, so we join together to pay our humble tribute to them and bear witness to their continued absence. The table is set for one, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her suppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to the country's call to arm. The single rose signifies the blood that may have been shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. The rose reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. A slice of lemon reminds us that their bitter fate. The salt reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us. The chair is empty. They are not with us. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to open arms of a grateful nation. Let us pray to our Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will soon be back with our ranks. Let us remember them and never forget their sacrifices. We ask that God will watch over them and protect them and their families.
Thank you, Paul. We will not forget. We will never give up until all come home. Today is a day for and about veterans, but we know that we must have the support of our legislators on all levels to protect the entitlements that veterans were promised and due to them. We have a strong legislative support in the following guest. We are pleased to have Joe Follard, our 104th District State Representative, with us. Representative Follard.
Good morning, and thanks for everybody to be here today. I'd just like to say one thing starting out, and to all the veterans that came up last fall and earlier this year and come by and visited, I want you to know that your efforts were well rewarded, and for the first time that we have a truly dedicated funding source for the Missouri Veterans Homes, and we should never have to deal with that issue again, and that was taken care of this year. And thank yous for coming up, because that was important to the process, but it was really a no-brainer. So with that, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out, and I usually like to close with just a slight little poem that has a message to it I pick up. I'm not creative enough to do my own, but for each soldier that has fallen, so that many may stand, we honor their spirit as they pass to God's hand. For without their sacrifice, we would live forever in fear. We pray for their loved ones and provide a salute and a tear. God help us heal the wounds of hate and the misery of war. That is our gift to our fallen heroes who are amongst us no more. Thank you, and God bless.
We have Mayor Dick Greminger, Mayor of St. Genevieve, with us. Mayor Greminger.
Thank you and good morning. It's a privilege to be here this morning on behalf of the City of St. Genevieve. Welcome. It's always an honor to be here, and it's always an honor to be able to recognize people that have given so much to this country. Thank you and God bless.
We have Ray Gettinger representing the County Commission of St. Genevieve.
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone for showing up today. Just wanted to let you know that St. Genevieve, St. Genevieve County remembers all of our fallen soldiers. Thank you.
I'd also like to ask Betty Arnold, our past department president and a member of our local auxiliary, to say a few words.
On behalf of the Ladies Auxiliary to the Veterans of Foreign Wars, I bring greetings and am honored to join in the services today as we take time for gratitude and reflection. Memorial Day is an opportunity for us to remember those brave men and women of the armed forces who have lost their lives and acknowledge their sacrifice. On Memorial Day, we take time to recognize the fallen heroes of every generation, but perhaps today shall pay special tribute to those who have lost their lives in the Vietnam War as we commemorate the 50th anniversary of that war. Every lost service person leaves behind family and friends. They gave their lives so that future generations could be free. We have a duty to remember and honor all veterans. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for protecting our country so that we can all enjoy our freedoms today. May God bless each and every veteran who has served and those who continue to serve.
I'd like to recognize Gigi Gill, the Department Ladies Auxiliary Conductress. Would you like to say a few words? Got anything to say?
If people can hear me, I do have a big mouth. But I want to thank this post, the veterans, and the Ladies Auxiliary for what you all have done to promote patriotism and the history of the veterans. They are the only reason why most of us are around. Thank you.
At this time, I am honored to present to you our keynote speaker. I'm aware that all of you probably know him as Stormy, but is actually Walter Crawford. Stormy is a Vietnam veteran and a member of our post. It is indeed fitting that a veteran address us this morning. Please welcome Stormy Crawford.
Well, it's always a pleasure for me to come home. We do a lot of traveling, and we've been a lot of places. And it's always good to, even though I haven't been here for a while, to come home to my home down here. It's a more relaxing atmosphere for me. But I do have serious stuff to talk about today, but before that, I have a couple of things I'd like to share with you. We had to do a thing on Fox Network this morning for veterans, which was on the morning news. And then I thought I'd stop at the gym for a few minutes and kind of unwind before I came down here. And as I was standing there watching this guy next to me, he had a trainer and everything, and this very attractive young lady walked in, very attractive, you know, a real nice looking outfit. And I kind of looked at her, and I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said, what would it take for me to, you know, get her attention? He said, which one of these machines? He looked at me and said, the ATM down the lobby. Enough said, you know. So, well, that's a good idea, you know. It probably would work, you know. But, and I always pick on the sheriff's department and the police and the highway patrol when I get a chance. They're all friends of mine. We work with them very closely in St. Louis. And one of them said, you got to tell what happened to you. I said, well, it's kind of an embarrassing story, which most of mine are. And I was raising some baby owls. This is when I was still at the zoo. Marlon Perkins was still alive, you know, and had all these babies. And they laid them in the middle of the winter. Worst possible time, you know, and then the mother couldn't cover them all. It was a mess. So I took 3 of them out, and I was feeding them at home. And, you know, just grinding up, put some, you know, mice in the blender and shaking it up. And it's also why nobody drinks margaritas at my house. But, you know, I realized it was cold out there, and I said, I got to transport these things back and forth. And Marlon came up and said, how's it going, Walt? I said, well, I got these baby owls. I said, I got them at home. I said, but I have to run all the way home to feed them. And I said, bring them in, put them in your office, no big deal. You know, because Marlon was a get-it-done type guy like I am. So, okay, so I, for lack of a better term, came up with 3 cups, plastic Tupperware cups with some Velcro, like a Tupperware bra with 3 compartments, and put it on my shirt, you know, and then I put my sweater on, I put my coat on, and I get in the car, and they stayed nice and toasty warm right up here next to me, you know. And I was driving home. I honestly don't think I was going that fast, because normally I don't drive very fast because my cars are all beat up and old. But apparently I was. And I looked in the mirror, and you see the lights going, oh, man. So I pulled over on Highway 44 right in the middle of the wind, about 10 degrees that night, you know, and cars are whizzing by, and I got out like I'm supposed to do, you know, and I realized I had forgotten my wallet. So I reached over, you know, bent over in front of the car, reached in, got the chick in the middle cup fell out. So what do? Well, I'm sitting there kind of fiddling with my coat and my sweater, and this guy, he didn't know what I was reaching for. He goes, put your hands on the car. I said, I'll be right with you. don't say that. He says, now. Then I realized, oh, hell, he doesn't know what I'm reaching for. Well, about that time, the chick fell into my pants. And so I crossed my legs, you know, because I didn't want it to fall out. It's cold. I put my hands on the car, and I'm sitting there like this, my legs crossed. You know, he comes up, he says, of course, he was 9 feet tall, like most of those guys are. He looks at me and says, what in the hell are you doing? I said, without thinking, and I do that a lot, I looked at him, I said, I got something in my pants that's really cute. Cop looks at me, he goes, what? I said, oh, crap. I'm going to end up in a jail in a cell with Big Larry all night. It's going to be a miserable. I said, no, let me rephrase that. He took a step back. He said, and what's your rephrase thing going to say? I said, well, I've got something in my pants you've never seen before. And I realized it was over. You know, I said, okay. I said, hold a minute. Can I open my shirt? And I guess he figured, what the hell? You know, it's better than taking his pants off. So but it was cold that night, so that's excuse, you know. And I was sitting there, and I his flashlight. He said, what in the heck are those? I said, those are baby owls. I said, how many do you see? He says, well, there's 3 little cups. I see 2 of them. I said, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I said, the third one's in my pants. And I said, I'm very nervous because we're 10 minutes past feeding time. So he looks at me real serious. He said, well, reach in your pants, but do it slow. You know, man, my hands are ice cold. What do you think I'm going to do? So I got myself all organized, but it taught me that we all are related to wildlife and animals. And that was the way I've pretty much done things over the years. And it's just been one of those things that has helped me and guided me. And it's, you know, Vietnam was another thing that changed a lot of my thinking and a lot of the way I was going to live my life. And working with animals and people have taught me that no matter how much you care about something, some people are still assholes, no matter how you look at it. That's the way they are. We got those people in our society don't understand veterans. They don't want to hear about our problems. They really don't. They don't want to hear about the environment. They really don't. They want to go about their life the way they want at our expense. And I was so glad to listen to Representative Fowler talk about the funding for the Veterans Home. That should not even had to go through there. It should have been automatic. These are the things that we have to really think about. You have to fight for these things, and the veterans have to stay united. They have to stay together. Because my uncle once told me, he said, never fight with an ugly man because he's got nothing to lose. And so don't fight with me, because I got nothing to lose. You know, I really don't. I will fight for veterans, and I will fight for the creatures that share this earth with us to my last breath. And somebody said, are you going to ever retire? I said, from what? You know, I said, I do what I want right now. Yes, I get tired. Yes, it's been tough, but we keep going. And that's the most important thing about this entire thing. And the thing, I guess, that I find a little bit frustrating is you know, we will emulate and we will talk about some of these great people, you know, like Michael Jackson and Lindsay Lohan. Give me a freaking break. These people are idolized. You know, Charlie Sheen, the guy's an alcoholic, womanizing bum. You know, but we emulate these people. What of our kids? They need to have role models like those of you that are sitting here today. They need to look at the men who have given them, and the women who have given them that right to do this, to be here today, to speak English, and to really enjoy what the Americans enjoy. And we have to stay on top of that. We cannot let that falter in any way, shape, or form. We have to educate people. It is so, so important that we do that. If we don't, we're going to pay for it in the end. You know, we're going to really hurt us a lot. And we have to study our society and working veterans be the most benefit. Well, they built the society if you get back and look at them. The World War II veterans came home, everything was fine. The Iraq, Pakistan veterans come home, it's all right. The Vietnam veterans weren't treated that way. And never, ever should we allow that to happen again. under any circumstance, under any reason. No way. I mean, we worked hard. We did our best to do what we could do to follow our rules. We were told to do something and we did it. And I'm proud that I did it. I learned a lot of things. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for letting me come up here today and talk about another of my favorite things besides the environment, and that's Vietnam. It's an honor for me to be here representing the men and women of our armed forces who throughout history have sacrificed so much so we can live in freedom. You see, freedom is not free. For those who fought for it, it has a flavor the protected will never know. These men and women ask for little, yet they have inspired us so much. All they asked for was the gratitude of a grateful nation when we came home. We never received that. To most people, the war is just a word, but in reality, it's a great leveler of egos and distinction. War is a remorseless scavenger. It will take you and tear you apart if given the opportunity. It makes you look deep inside yourself. And in many instances, you find things about yourself you'd rather not know. But no other experience on earth exists on this plane. War is hell, no matter how you look at it. Combat veterans know what a great loss and a great joy they feel when they occur. Unfortunately, in many instances, at the same moment. It is very difficult. It is transforming for each and every one of us, and I know those of you who are here today know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not what you see in the movies. It's dirty, tiring, vicious, and has a lifelong effect on you. Today, our great nation, once again, is at war, and we are depending upon our brave men and women in our military to defend us. But today, it is about over the 1 million Americans who have died serving this country. I read an interesting article recently regarding World War II. And this brings up another pet peeve of mine, in that 4 of the generals for Japan were gathered after the war was over. And some of our generals say, you know, when you bombed Pearl Harbor, you pretty much had us. We were on our knees. You know, we were beat. Why in the heck didn't you invade the United States? And they all said, pretty much to a person, that behind every blade of grass, behind every tree, was somebody with a gun. The people of the United States will defend their country because we're allowed to have the arms to do it. We cannot let that be taken away from us under any circumstance. It is important that each veteran especially, and the rest of you understand that. That's the reason they didn't invade the United States. They estimated it would have cost them 2 million soldiers to get to the Mississippi River. So that's amazing, you know, when you think about that. They knew that these guys weren't militarily trained, but they still had a gun. They were hunters. They were people who used to live off the land. They were people who would defend their families and their property. So keep in mind, every one of these laws that changes, we really have to pay attention to that. At a memorial service at our nation's capital recently, Gary Sinise, I don't know if you've ever listened to his band or watch him on TV, but he is a great supporter of veterans, even though he himself is not one. And I've had a chance and the pleasure to work with him on some fundraisers, and he's a very nice guy. A man does not die until he's forgotten. And he believes that. He seriously believes that. He does 50 free concerts every year to fund and pay for veterans events. This is very important. It's up to us to see that he is not forgotten, and other people who work with us are not forgotten. Every generation has individuals who have stepped forward when they were called. A lot of you in here, World War II, Korea, and a lot of other unmentioned things like Grenada, Somalia, places that we didn't exist. And those of us who were assigned to operations that didn't exist can understand what I'm talking about. They also protect our freedom, oppose tyranny, and free people who are oppressed. You've all heard all gave some gave all. But let's not forget that, no matter how many times it's mentioned. In every generation, there has been brave individuals like yourself who have stepped forward to protect our country, to defend our freedoms, to oppose tyranny and free the oppressed. These veterans were witness to much, and they did it for us. For those of us that are sitting here today, and those of us in St. Genevieve has given more than its fair share when it comes to soldiers over the years. They're all in this for one thing, to protect our country. Now, they live with us daily. A lot of people don't know you're a veteran. They preserve, they comfort, they conquer. They get what has to be done so our country can flourish. They preserve, they yearn, they love, they bleed, they pray, and they die. When asked to fight, they're ready to go. 72% of the men who fought on the line in Vietnam were volunteers. They were not drafted. 72%. That's a misconception that it was all draft people. No. They were all volunteers. They went because our country asked. None of us went to Canada or hid behind somebody else. We went and did what we had to do. As a country, we must provide for our wounded soldiers when they come home and when they get old and infirmed. Those with physical and psychological injuries, the support they need and deserve must be provided. And the older we get, the more problems we see. And once again, I've said this many times, not every injury is visible. Because those of us who know what I'm talking about carry in the back of our minds things we don't want to talk about. In Vietnam, I formed some of the best relationships of my life. I had great friends. I was glad to come home. I detest war. I don't like it. I always wish there would be a way to solve it, but we can't. Only a fool sentimentalizes war. It's not what you see in the movies. It's not the great, glorious thing. You know, people bleed, people die until you see it, you can't experience it. And a lot of that will haunt many of us for the rest of our lives. It's a hard-pressed, bloody, and soiled glory when we win. And it is very, very, very forbearing. You see before you a group of men and women today who committed themselves to the protection and preservation of our freedom and our country. You are here today at this memorial service listening to me because of veterans, because of the commitment that each and every one of them made to make sure we could do this. No one can accomplish anything without teamwork. Anyone who's been in the military understands that. And it does not make any difference what your job was. It was teamwork. Behind every man on the line was a lot of other people supplying them and helping them. Without them, it couldn't happen. So if you say, what did you do? Say, I was in Vietnam. Whether you fought or not, you were there and you supplied those who did. And that is very important. Before I went to Vietnam, war was an obscure word to me. I have to admit that. Hidden by other veterans who would not speak about it. Experiencing it taught me the importance of discipline and courage and God in my life. War made me a better man, a person who appreciates life, people, family, and friends. And that's the most important thing you learn as a veteran. You want to make sure that when we come home, we tell our friends to pray and respect those of us that are not here. You know, the interesting thing is that I was watching, I don't watch stuff on Vietnam or war movies on TV, but I caught the very, very end of a Rambo movie. It was like the very last 3 minutes. And, Sylvester Stallone was walking out of the building after rescuing some POWs. And the colonel said, "What do you want from us to help ease that tension and that animosity you have?" He just says quite simply, he said, what all veterans want is for other people to respect and love our country as much as we do. And I never thought about that. That pretty much says it all. It pretty much does say it all. And the thing is, it's one of those things that we have to start thinking about those people who have given us the right to be here today. When you see all these veterans' hats and you see all these veterans sitting here today, it is imperative that we let them know that we appreciate what they did. And as the older ones pass on, they should be respected. This morning, standing up at Jefferson Barracks, in early morning with 2 eagles in front of these countless graves, it kind of stirs you whether you like it or not. All these people were veterans. It's amazing what we have given so we can be free. And we must continue on to do that, to protect and to serve. That is the most important thing. I brought with me this morning, a symbol to me and for everybody else in this great country. And, of course, the bald eagle has stood as a symbol. Fortunately for me, I am able to work with them. I actually trained an eagle for the Army. I'm sure most of you know the 101st Airborne Screaming Eagles. I trained eagles because nobody else was dumb enough to train this mean eagle. And let's see what you can do here, Louis. Is he awake when you're ready? You're going to find out one thing, is that animals are a lot like children. You think they know what they're supposed to do, and they will do that. But the thing we like to do, especially at the ball games, if you've ever been up to the baseball games, when you turn this bird loose in front of 58,000 people, and it makes 10 or 12 laps of the stadium and then lands, you know that you've seen something, that the people just get real quiet. They get real hushed. They are very excited. They really appreciate it, because this is something that has been important to us, and it's the reason why every veteran here has spent the time to train and become a soldier and do whatever's necessary. I think it's one of those things that you can't really describe, and you can't force birds to do something they don't want to do, and that's not uncommon. They will do. This bird's flown all over the United States, a lot better than he did just now. But, we've been up to Soldier Stadium in Chicago. We've been all over the place. Just got back to North Carolina. And, when you're traveling, for those of you that travel by airplane or any other way, that things have changed drastically in how you can get on and off a plane, what you can carry, what you can't carry, all that kind of stuff. And that is true. Well, if you think it's trouble getting through security now, you should try and get through with a cooler full of rats. It's not easy. Definitely not easy. Now, they all know me in St. Louis, and they won't touch my luggage. Absolutely not. I could probably put an elephant in there and nobody'd say a word. That's Walt Crawford. Get him out of here. The whole place is going to stink. And I don't have a sense of smell, apparently, but other people do. Fortunately, Mary Lise doesn't have a sense of smell either, so I'm able to sneak a lot of stuff in and out of the refrigerator without her knowing it. We got some ground beef. No, don't cook that particular package. Cook this one on the right, And it's just one of those things that we understand. Not true, but remember that we as a group of veterans must always respect each other, work together, care for each other, and respect this country and make others, our children, our grandchildren, respect this country for the great country that it is. And I tell you, when you travel the world and you see some of these other places, you're damn glad to come back here. You're very glad to come back here. I can tell you that. I've worked with a lot of high-ranking officials in a lot of different governments, and it's just a much better pleasure to come back here. And also, we have the right to vote. It's coming up. Make sure that our votes are cast for the environment and for veterans. Those are the two most important things in my life. And we must all carefully think about that, because that's going to help us in the future, and it's going to help a lot of the veterans now who are getting older. And a lot of those coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, because that was a terrible, terrible war. And the interesting thing, the last thing I'm going to bring up is in my opinion, we won the war in Vietnam. We had it won. We were in Cambodia 2 miles from the headquarters for the NVA. We had it. And some brainiac in Washington decided, well, we got to stop right there. And we didn't finish the job. And I've learned that in life now. When I start something, damn it, I finish it, or I don't do it. So let's also make sure that those individuals who are sending our men and women in harm's way throughout the world learn that they must help us and let us finish the job. That's the only way you can say you accomplished anything. You don't come home to the negative things that we did. I feel very honored to be from St. Genevieve. I feel very honored to be a member of this post. I'm also a member of the Legion. I'm also a member of the Vietnam Veterans of America. And we do a lot of events all over the St. Louis area for veterans, because I'm proud to stand with you men and women who are veterans and their families, because all that together is so important. So have a very safe and happy Memorial Day. We'll be available later on for those of you that want to get pictures. We will be available with 2 eagles, and we can get our pictures taken here. And we want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. All yours, boss.
Thank you very much, Stormy. That pretty well hits home with a lot of us. Next, we're going to have our ritualistic service. Comrades, attention. As long as two comrades survive, so long will we render tribute to our heroic dead. On this day, forever consecrated to our heroic dead, we are assembled once again to express sincere reverence. This monument represents the resting place of many departed comrades who have served in all wars. Wherever the body of a comrade lies, the ground is hollowed. Our presence here today is in solemn commemoration of all these men and women, an expression of our tribute to their devotion of duty, courage, and patriotism. By their service, whether in war, whether it was on land, sea, or air, they have made us debtors. For the flag of our nation still flies over the land of the free people. Pray rest. Comrade Chaplain, you will ask the divine blessing. Uncover.
Father of us all, in the depth of our silent reverence, we realize the truth of inspired words. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. As comrade after comrade departs, we march on with our ranks growing thinner. Help us to be faithful unto thee and to one another. Look in mercy on the widows and the children of our departed comrades, we beseech thee, and with thine own tenderness, console and comfort those who are bereaved. Heavenly Father, bless our country with freedom, peace, and righteousness. Through thy favor, may we meet at last before thy throne in heaven. We praise thy great name forever and ever. Amen.
Cover.
Yeah. We will read the names of our departed comrades for this past years. Sylvester Bowman, Joseph DeRouche, Wilford Red Geck, Leonard Giesler, John Grifford, Larry Heberly, Urban Klein, Glennon Lawton, Marlon Levitt, Joseph Snetz, Daniel Tomier, and Dennis Woods.
I'll take it then.
Okay, that's it for me then.
Be seated. We will now continue to pay our respects to our departed comrades. Comrade Senior Vice Commander.
On behalf of Post 2210 veterans of foreign wars of the United States, I place this symbol of our republic.
Comrade Junior Vice Commander.
Place a symbol of purity on his comrade's grave. May future generations emulate the selfless courage of all men and women who fought for freedom.
Comrade Officer of the Day.
heroic dead who have fallen in defense of the United States of America. I place this tribute of our devotion in everlasting remembrance.
American Legion Post 150 Commander.
On behalf of American Legion Post 150, I place these flowers in memory of our fallen soldiers.
American Legion Post 554 Commander.
Memory of all of our fallen comrades for us. This is our Bloomingdale Post 554.
American Legion Riders.
On behalf of the American Legion Riders, I present these flowers to our fallen comrades.
Sons of the American Legion.
In honor of our fallen soldiers, on behalf of the Sons of the American Legion Post 150.
Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War.
On behalf of the Sons of the Union Civil War and our local camp, Lieutenant Colonel St. James, 326, and the 78th EM Reserve, and places wreath on behalf of all the soldiers who we should be remembering from our great Civil War.
Madam President of the VFW Ladies Auxiliary. Madam President of the American Legion Auxiliary. On behalf of our glorious republic for whom our comrades enlisted and served, I place this emblem of our nation. The flag of our country was theirs to defend. Its glorious colors shall wave over them in death as in life, for everyone to behold. To you, comrades who have departed, we render a final salute. Comrades, 10 hut. Comrade Officer of the Day, on your command. Hand salute. 2. Got just a couple things here, folks, and we'll get to our meal. First of all, thank you to Roger Martin and the members of the Muni Band, Miss Madeline Fleeg, for being a part of our service today, making this day special. Thanks also to Connie Schwint and By the Bunch for providing us with the flowers. Want to thank Chris Kurtz for his military display out front. For all those that didn't see it, or how you didn't, I don't know. You take a shot at it, take a look at it before you leave. Want to thank Channel 98 for televising our program, St. Genevieve Herald for their coverage of our events. We want to offer a special thank you to our friends and members of the American Legion who assisted us in this salute to all veterans. We are proud to work with them on programs and projects. We also want to say thank you to the ladies in the kitchen who prepared the meal for you here shortly. And we're grateful to those families who allow us to display their veterans' flags. We invite you to take the time to view our flags. Each one represents a veteran. Offer a silent thank you, and as you pause, to remember their service to our country. Again, thank you for all participation, and please join us for lunch and music. I guess before we run over everybody, we want to start with the dignitaries and the 50-year members, go through the food line first, followed by our dignitaries, and start on this end over here to my left. Just feet on across.